You planning to dump and flush today?
Yes, that was on my list of things to do.
Good, because the toilet's burping.
Oh, the toilet's burping?
Yes.
All right, well, let's go do that.
All right.
First thing I always do is I pull out my hose and I go ahead and pull the handle on my black tank. I let it start going first for a little bit. I get my Rain Point flow meter out. And the reason I use a flow meter is so I know exactly how many gallons of water I'm putting back into my black tank. So I do have a two-way hose splitter. One of them's for Kathy's garden, and one of them's the water to the house. I hook my flow meter up, and what I do now is I just run clear water in my tanks. I turn it on, make sure there's no kinks in my hose. Black tank handle and my Valterra gate valve, which is right down here, both of them are open. So my black tank is emptying, and I'm putting clear water through it right now, and I do that for about 15 minutes. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. I've had the clear water run through. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stop the water flow. Now there's no water going into the black tank. I'm gonna let it finish emptying. And then once it's emptied, then I'll come back and show you what I do after that. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna close my Valterra gate valve. And I always leave the black tank handle in the wet bay open. And by doing that, it lets the water, I'm gonna fill my black tank up with about 30 gallons of water. And then it lets the water build up in the hose as well. So after 30 gallons, I'll pull the Valterra handle and it will give me a better flush.
That would also keep debris from getting stuck in your main black tank
Yes.
valve too, correct?
Right. So if debris gets stuck in our Valterra gate valve, it's easier to fix than if it gets stuck on the black tank valve.
Okay, cool.
All right, so that's good. Everything's closed. I'm going to turn the water back on. And this is one of the most important tips I can tell you. Our tank is closed. Set a timer so you do not overfill your black tank. For me, it's about 11 minutes, and that would be about 33 gallons. So I'm going to set me a timer for 11 minutes, and then we'll come back in a few minutes and start the dumping.
Ding, ding.
There's my timer. My ding, ding. That was the timer. Anyway, so what I do now is we put 30 gallons. Depending on how I feel, I either use 30 gallons or 35 gallons. So I go ahead and stop the water flow right now. And then after I stop the water flow, I wanted to tell everybody too, I will leave a link in the description below for the rain flow meter and for the Valterra gate valve, as well as the hose splitter. So things I use, I'll leave links so you can get that too as well if you like. And so then I come over here and I remember my black tank handle, my wet bay, it's still open. So I just open my Valterra gate valve. I let it run till it's about empty. Then I close it and I do it one more time. I do that process twice. And also, I meant to tell you as well, stick with me to the very end because I have 3 tips that every RVer should know. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, since it's close to being empty, not all the way, but I do feel confident I could put another 30 gallons back in. So once again, I will close my Valterra gate valve and I'll turn the water back on. We'll set another timer for 11 minutes and just be mindful. Water pressure at different parks is different. Here at this park, it's about a little bit less than 3 gallons a minute. I've been at some parks where it's been almost 5 gallons a minute. So don't use my timer of 10 or 11 minutes. Test your water flow yourself first, and then that's why you know how much is going in it. So timer went off. We're sitting right about 31.5 gallons. Like I was saying, you can do 30 to 35. And the reason I chose those numbers is I have a 53-gallon black tank. So I did the math before, I don't remember the numbers, but it's about 70%, almost 80% full. So we'll go ahead and turn the water off. We'll pull the Valterra gate valve again. And this time, on the second time, I will also, now that the Valterra gate valve is open, I go ahead and turn the water back on and I'll let it run clear for about another 10 minutes. Still open, let it run clear water through for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off this water supply. And then once the black tank is emptied, I'll close the black tank handle in the wet bay, and that's when I'll pull my gray handle. Don't ever pull black and gray at the same time. You always want to keep them separate. All right, so my black tank is pretty much empty right now. So I'm gonna leave my Valterra gate valve open. I still need to empty my gray tank. So I'm gonna come to my wet bay and I'm gonna close my black tank handle, and then I'll go ahead and open my gray. And while I'm emptying my gray, I come back over here, turn the water back on because I want to put 10 gallons or so of water back into my black tank. You don't want to let your black tank dry out. You want as much water as you can. So if you put 10 gallons or if you put 15 gallons, it really doesn't matter. The more water you have in your black tank, it keeps solids from drying out. I'm just taking a quick look at my flow meter. I'm sitting at almost 6 gallons, so I still have a couple of minutes. And what I do then, since my kitchen gray tank still needs to be dumped. All right, so we're at 10 gallons back into the tank. So I go ahead and shut off my water supply. So I have these 90 degrees on my my line for my water to the house, and that's my flush line. So what I do is I always turn this off. It just makes me feel better. So then all I do now is I disconnect my flow meter, wrap up my hose, and by the time I'm done with that, my 2 gray tanks should be empty. Inside our wet bay, we got these command strips. These are hooks.
It's for a broom or a mop.
So then I just push it in there, and that's where it stays. So if there is a little water in the line, it's not going to hurt anything because it's upright, it's not going to come out. So the gray tanks are empty. We always close our gray tank. We do not leave it open. Some people do, but we choose not to. So I close my tank in the wet bay, and then also I need to go back here and close my kitchen gray as well.
We don't leave the gray tanks open because just in case there's a backup in any of the systems, you don't want anybody else's stuff ending up in your lines.
So now we're pretty much done with everything outside. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 to 3 tips that I promise that every RVer should know. Tip number 1 is always dump your black tank first, and then followed by your gray tank. By doing that, any remnants left over from the black tank in your line, in the hose, will be flushed out more so with the gray tank. And the second tip that every RVer should know is always, always, always set a timer, especially when you're putting water back in your black tank. But use a flow meter so you know how many gallons are going back into your black tank, and also set a timer. Don't be that guy that gets sidetracked outside talking with someone, and then your wife comes out and tells you there's water overflowing the toilet. Okay, we're inside. This is the 3rd tip that every RVer should know. We do use an enzyme treatment for our black tank. We choose Happy Camper. We've used it for about 6 years, and it's worked well for us. You fill up your bowl. It just takes 1 scoop, and by holding the scoop down and having water in here already, it keeps the dust from flying up on you. Once it gets up to about to the end right here, I just go ahead and flush it. And that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video on how I flush my black tank and empty my gray tanks. Remember, I'm not a professional, and this is not a how-to video at all. This is how Frank does it. Give us a comment below, hit that like button. Also subscribe to our channel so you can see more videos related to travel, RV adventure, and cooking. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep living on slow time.
A bird's nest flew out of the tree. It's so cute. There's no eggs in it.